the spokesman for the current Malaysian government has accused you of political opportunism and desperation. He says if you want to change the government, quote, follow democratic process and await the next election in line with Malaysia's laws. He's right, isn't he? You have no right to overturn the 2013 election result, which returned Prime Minister Razak to office, do you? That would be a coup.
The government is not going according to the laws of this country. Whenever somebody reports on the misdeeds of the Prime Minister, the man would be detained, questioned, and charged before a court for some laws which are not related to what he has done.
But in a democracy, and Malaysia claims to be a democracy, shouldn't the people kick out a Prime Minister, not the former Prime Minister?
No, the people has a right to do that, but he has closed all avenues for redress. The people cannot even speak. The newspapers do not publish anything about his misdeeds. And if you go to the parliament to try and move a motion of non-confidence, he has a grip over his party, which is the majority, and they will never support a vote of non-confidence. So there is no way we can take action against him except by trying to make it well known to the people of Malaysia and the world that he has done a lot of wrong.
You have said that Malaysia can no longer take the corruption of the current government. And yet there was corruption on your watch too, wasn't there? In fact, you only fell out with your own Deputy Prime Minister, Anwar Ibrahim, after he went on a campaign against corruption and cronyism in the late 1990s, which ended up targeting many of your allies, including your son Mirzan, who was allegedly trying to get a government bailout for his shipping company.
It is all the accusation, but in that case they are open to prove that that is so, but they have not proven. But what is the evidence that I was corrupt or I corrupted people? There is corruption in every country. It is a level that counts. I admit that during my time there was corruption, but not on the scale that Najib is involved in, running into billions and billions, tens of billions of Malaysian ringgit. That has never been done or heard of in this country.
That's a fair point. But it isn't just opposition politicians who made those accusations against you in the 90s. It was academics, NGOs, journalists who publicly complained that your sons had stakes in or sat on the boards of over 200 Malaysian companies. Some would say if you're so worried about corruption, why not look closer to home?
After I stepped down, there were attempts to look into my past by the following governments, but they couldn't find anything wrong with my administration. Otherwise, they would have hauled me up in court. Of course, during my time, people will say that people cannot take action against me. But please remember that when I was heading my party was declared illegal. I had a tough time trying to rebuild the party. And there are many decisions of the court which were against me. That was possible during my time. It's not possible now.
You say that, and yet you were also accused of interfering with the judiciary. All of the things you complain about under Najib Razak, some would say started under you. The consolidation of executive power, the crackdown on dissent. You said in a recent interview that you don't feel proud of Malaysia anymore. But should people have felt proud of Malaysia back in the 80s and 90s when you were using the Internal Security Act to detain without trial hundreds of opposition party members, NGO leaders, students, artists, scientists, intellectuals, shutting down newspapers?
Yeah, they accuse, but what is the evidence that I did anything wrong? If I'd done anything wrong, now that I am powerless, they can take it up in the courts of law. I have no say in the courts of law.
But do you deny locking up people without trial under the Internal Security Act during your tenure? Do you deny that?
Yes, it was after riots, after policemen were killed, 4 policemen were shot because of some uprising by Islamist fundamentalists. But all those people were released within 2 months.